Hey everyone, it's Marcello here from the Toyota World YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to compare the similarities, differences, pros and cons, which one might be better for you when looking at a family hybrid vehicle from the Toyota lineup. We've got two hot ones to talk about here. We've got the Grand Highlander Hybrid for 2024, or I guess you can even say 2025 now, and we also have the 2025 Toyota Sienna up against that one. We're going to talk about which one might be better and right for you just ahead in this video. All right, everyone, let's talk about what is the obvious, which may not be so obvious for a lot of the viewers and customers and people watching this video right now, because not everyone is so well versed and knowledgeable about the Toyota product like myself, which is why you're going to want to subscribe to the best Toyota channel on YouTube, the Toyota World YouTube channel. So when you're talking about wanting a large family vehicle like a Grand Highlander, like a Toyota Sienna, but for whatever reason, you don't want a hybrid, which is quite rare. For the most part, everybody wants a hybrid, especially when you're talking about Toyota, because we do it the best. But if you're looking for a family vehicle, not hybrid, well, then you're going to have to go with the Grand Highlander. For us here in Canada, the Grand Highlander does come in a 7-passenger and an 8-passenger option, non-hybrid. That's the XLE and the Limited. But if you're okay going with the hybrid, well, then you have both the Grand Highlander to choose from and the Toyota Sienna to choose from. When you're looking at models and trims, you'll want to keep in mind that the Grand Highlander Hybrid is offered in 3 different models, 3 different configurations. When you're looking at the hybrid equivalent, the XLE, the Limited, and the Platinum. The Platinum has the hybrid max powertrain system, which we'll get to a little bit later on in this video. Whereas when you're looking at the Sienna, it now has up to 8, I believe, 8 different models to choose from. When you're looking at the 2025 Toyota Sienna Hybrid, that's right, we're on to 25 Sienna right now. 24 is gone. If you guys don't already know, I did do a video on the 2025 Toyota Sienna Hybrid changes. You can go to the link below in this video and check it out later on. But let's start off with the LE grade. That comes in a front wheel drive and an all-wheel drive. And then you've got the XLE front wheel drive. And then you've got the XSE front wheel drive. Now, if you want an XSE model in a technology package, then you're going to have to go with the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive Sienna XSE comes all-wheel drive tech, all-wheel drive non-tech, and then you have the limited grade 2025 Toyota Sienna Hybrid. And new for 2025 for us here in Canada is first of its kind, the Platinum grade, Platinum edition. If you want a family transportation vehicle, large vehicle like a Grand Highlander, like a Toyota Sienna, and you really want things like a built-in vacuum in your family vehicle, or a mini fridge, mini cooler, if you want lazy boy style reclining seats, rear DVD entertainment system, these are all boxes you're going to be able to check off when you're looking at a Sienna, and not so much the Grand Highlander. Let's continue on with this comparison. Now, I know there already has been an official release for the 2025 Toyota Grand Highlanders in the US not too long ago. I'm going to anticipate that we should see something official come from Toyota on the 2025 Grand Highlander and Highlander Hybrid for us here in Canada sometime soon. But again, let's go with the basics. Keep in mind, if you only want a front wheel drive family vehicle for whatever reason, fuel consumption, savings, whatever the case is, then you're going to have to look at a Sienna. Grand Highlander, you can, I believe, get front wheel drive in the US. I'm just not sure what configuration, but here in Canada you cannot. So if you want a front wheel drive family vehicle, it's going to have to be the Toyota Sienna for 2025. Talking about Canadian MSRP, let's talk about where you can start off at with the Sienna LE front wheel drive 2025. That is the Canadian MSRP of $47,650 plus your destination transportation fees and taxes, Whereas if you're looking at the XLE Grand Highlander Hybrid standard model, this is the entry grade for us here in Canada. There's no LE that I know of for 2024 or for 2025 for us. Well, then you're looking at a difference and a increase in Canadian MSRP from the LE front wheel drive Sienna up to $53,790 plus your transportation, destination fees, and taxes. So as you can see, there's quite a gap there, quite a window of price gap between your standard base model Sienna and your standard base model Grand Highlander. But keep in mind, this is an LE Sienna, which does not have a lot of the features that your Grand Highlander Hybrid XLE would have, like soft text interior seats, and so much more. Keep in mind also Toyota Safety Sense. If that's a hot button, yes, we did get the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 in the Grand Highlander, but for Toyota Sienna for 2025, a lot of improvements and changes did happen and did take place when it comes to standard equipment, technology, and features, and a little bit of aesthetics as well in the interior. But for Toyota Safety Sense, it is still the 2.0. So if that's one of your hot buttons, you're going to have to go again with a Grand Highlander. It does have the newest and latest and greatest Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. All right, now I mentioned how you can go with a super powerful, high horsepower output engine like the Hybrid Max, which is available in the Grand Highlander Hybrid Platinum. Keep in mind, this is a 7-passenger option only. Guys, if you haven't already noticed Toyota's trends when it comes to speccing out your Toyota a little bit higher in terms of trim level and packages, those typically come with the 7-passenger seat options, like in the Highlander non-hybrid, non-grand, the Grand, the Siennas. The higher you go in trim, the more and more you're seeing them available in a 7-passenger. But keep in mind, guys, for the power plant under the hood, the Toyota Sienna Hybrid and the Grand Highlander Hybrid have very similar horsepower ratings. The Sienna, I believe, is coming in at 245 horsepower, whereas the Grand Highlander comes in at around 243 horsepower. But if you're going with that 7-passenger Hybrid Max powertrain system, you're going to be getting a whopping 362 horsepower under the hood, which is way more power than any Toyota Sienna Hybrid can get you. Let's talk about resale and depreciation. This could be a video all on its own, but I'm not going to do that actually. I'm just going to go over it quickly. When you're talking about resale and depreciation, you're talking about hybrid Toyotas. Guys, Toyota does hybrid the best. We've been doing it since the late 90s. So having a hybrid Toyota definitely helps you in terms of keeping some of that value. Vehicles are going to depreciate regardless, but they'll depreciate a little bit less and a little bit more slowly on the hybrid Toyotas versus the non-hybrid Toyotas. One more thing that helps you with resale depreciation and really holding on to that value that you paid when you took the vehicle brand new is availability, scarcity. When things are hard to get or not readily available, they tend to hold their value a little bit more stronger and better and longer, which is where I'm going with this conversation. If you're looking at apples and apples or oranges and oranges, whatever you want to call it, in terms of which one will depreciate a little bit quicker or harder as opposed to the other, well, the Toyota Sienna Hybrid we are seeing hold their value a little bit more stronger when compared to the Grand Highlander Hybrid. Now, that's not to say that the Grand Highlander Hybrid doesn't hold its value. It definitely does a very good job at doing that for what it is. But as you may already know, the Sienna Hybrids do have quite a bit of a waiting list, and you do have to order, factory order for the most part, for those Siennas, and you might find yourself waiting some time. These things all do help with the resale and depreciation. So if you're looking at an investment, I guess, even though a vehicle is not really investment by any means, the Sienna is definitely where it's at for that. Another factor that might hinder your decision either way, whether it's Grand Highlander, whether it's Toyota Sienna Hybrid, is if you need to tow or pull anything, if you do a lot of camping, if you have a small trailer or a small boat. Keep in mind that with the Grand Highlander Hybrid Platinum, you can tow up to 5,000 pounds, whereas on the Toyota Sienna, those models generally have a towing capacity of about 3,500 pounds. All right, let's talk about the fuel rating and fuel economy overall on these two vehicles to compare. So surprisingly, both the Sienna and the Grand Highlander have similar gas tank sizes of 64-liter gas tank and 68-liter gas tank. And luckily, both the Grand Highlander and the Toyota Sienna Hybrid take and require regular fuel. They don't require super high octane or premium fuel, which is always good to know. If you're talking about combined fuel economy, well, on the Grand Highlander Hybrid, non-platinum, so non-hybrid max, it has a combined city and highway fuel economy of about 7 liters per 100 kilometers. And if you're looking at the platinum hybrid max, well, then you're looking at about 8.8 combined liters per 100 kilometers on city and highway. That translates to about 40 miles per gallon for the 7.1 or 7.0 liter per 100 kilometer average. And we're looking at the hybrid max, that translates to about 32 miles per gallon. On the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, it ranges from around 6.6 to 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers city and highway combined, and that translates to about 42 to 43 miles per gallon. So as you can see, it's a very close gap when you're talking about fuel economy and fuel savings. Granted, on the Hybrid Max, you are getting much more horsepower, which does come with a slightly worse fuel economy when combined to the when comparing against the non-platinum Toyota Grand Highlanders. All right, I was actually fortunate enough to be able to drive a Grand Highlander Hybrid XLE for about 6 to 8 months. I currently drive a Crown Signia Tech, which I absolutely love. Very cool video. You'll see more content on that as well, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. But luckily, we also have a Toyota Sienna Hybrid in the family as well. So having both vehicles at our disposal in terms of, you know, which vehicle has more ease of use, space, comfort, and overall fulfillment for our needs, for us, the winner is definitely the Toyota Sienna, because like I said, it has features that you just cannot get with the Grand Highlander, like the ample amount of interior cargo space, the pass-through storage between the front driver and passenger seat, the power sliding doors. These are all features that really come in handy when you have 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. But if you want to talk about exact sizing and specs in terms of measurements, I'm going to go through that right now. But keep in mind, the Sienna Hybrid is slightly longer than the Grand Highlander. It's slightly wider than the Grand Highlander, and it's about the same size, but let's go over those exact measurements. All right, so the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, whether you're going with the LE, the Limited, or the Platinum, has a length from front to back of just over 2.3 inches, whereas the Grand Highlander, again, doesn't matter, Limited, XLE, Platinum, has a length front to back of 201 inches. If you're looking at the width, well, the width of the Grand Highlander comes in at 78.3 inches, whereas on the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, doesn't matter the model, comes in at 78.5 inches of width. And I gotta tell you, you really feel that and you really notice that on the interior of this lovely family vehicle. Height-wise, the Toyota Sienna comes in at 69.9 inches, whereas the Grand Highlander comes in just over the Sienna Hybrid at 70.1 inches high. Now, that's not all. You also have a bit more space on the interior in terms of cubic feet when you're looking at the Sienna versus the Grand Highlander. It doesn't really matter which model, but specifically on space, for example, behind the front driver seats and the middle row on the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, you have about 101 cubic feet of space from behind the front seats, where on the Grand Highlander Hybrid, you have just 97.5 cubic feet of space from behind the front seats. And I gotta say, you really do feel that when you're looking at from behind the second row On the Grand Highlander Hybrids, you have 57.9 cubic feet of space. When you're looking at the Toyota Sienna, you have 75.2 cubic feet of space from behind the second row. And I'll let you know, from behind the third row on the Sienna Hybrid, you have 33.5 cubic feet of space. So what's the right choice for you and your family? Well, hopefully this video has helped you. You've got to go over those questions and those check marks on what is your hot button and what is not. Is Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 okay for you, or do you really need the 3.0? Do you need rear seat DVD entertainment? Do you need those power sliding doors? Do you need a vacuum or a mini fridge or cooler in your vehicle? Do you need to have a front wheel drive? Do you not want a hybrid? All these questions that you need to ask yourself before you decide if a Grand Highlander is the right move for you or if it should be the Sienna. Like I said, we've had both vehicles in the family, and we've taken all five of us. We are five. We've got 3 kids, my wife and myself, and we've taken the Grand Highlander Hybrid XLE many times as a whole family. We've of course taken the Sienna Hybrid out as a family, all of us. And I gotta say, in terms of ease, comfort, interior space, feeling a little bit more roomy on the inside, the Sienna is where it's at. I know a lot of consumers and viewers want to steer away from having a minivan, but I gotta tell you, with Toyota's cool and aggressive front end, large grills, sporty looks, large black alloy wheels, black accents, whether you're going with the XSE model or not, the Sienna has really upped the minivan game, which is why there is such a wait for them and such a high demand for them. I hope this video helped you and your family decide if the Grand Highlander is the right move or the Sienna Hybrid is the right move. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure you smash a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.